science.
Hey, howdy, hey, friends and neighbors. Am I under that microphone? Scott here, and today we're going to talk about plants that you can use to wipe your rear end. This video was suggested by, I wish I could remember who. If it was you, put your name in the comments so we can all give you a thumbs up or an applause for this really intriguing question. When you're out in the woods and nature calls and you don't have any toilet paper around, what leaves do you want to use and which ones do you want to avoid? I'm going to try and keep this as classy as possible. It's something everybody does and that everybody has to deal with at one time or another. I never know who's going to watch my videos, and so I always want to make sure that they're kid friendly, so I'm going to try real hard to use delicate terminology. Let's get started. First of all, what plants should you never ever use to wipe your bum? Well, obviously plants that are poisonous or toxic to the touch, like poison ivy or poison oak, poison sumac, anything with poison in the name, generally you should avoid, especially because you can absorb poisons through your mucous membranes even better than through your regular skin. You have mucous membranes in your... You know what I'm saying? So avoid those. Next, don't wipe your butt with a cactus. Okay, that should be pretty obvious. And then while you do want some texture to help you with waste removal, you want to make sure that that texture is not too intense. Some plants that have kind of stickery, fuzzy leaves, like say comfrey, would not be a good choice on your nethers. If you get the little hairs the wrong direction, they can give you like a little comfrey splinter. You don't want that down there. Next, let's move on to leaves that you can use but that are inferior. If you've spent a lot of time outdoors, you've probably been there. You needed a leaf, but it's, say, fall or winter and there's really nothing around except for these dead, dry leaves. Yeah, you can make it work, but it's really not the best. They don't have enough strength, they're too crumbly. Also, slick or smooth leaves that don't have the texture, they're not as good at cleaning off. So try to get something with a little more texture. I was out on a long run one time, and boy, don't you know it, that run was shaking stuff up. Stuff needed to happen. Only thing I could find around me were oak trees, and I had to make do with what I had, and yeah, it worked eventually, but it wasn't pretty in any conceivable way. So yeah, those aren't the best, but you can make them work. Now let's move on to some leaves that are actually good at doing this job. Now when I say good, I don't mean good like Charmin toilet paper good. We're kind of spoiled, but I mean they will effectively remove the waste. So let's get this one out of the way at the very first. You saw this at the beginning of the video, that was mullein. Mullein is sometimes called nature's toilet paper because it is very soft. That being said, before I tested it out right then, I had never used mullein because I've heard that sometimes it irritates your delicate skin down there with those hairs, and it depends on the person whether it's going to irritate you or not. I was a little afraid to have itchy mullein booty. As it turned out, everything worked out for me, so yeah, I would use mullein in the future. We had a frost overnight and it was still below freezing when I picked that leaf, so I brought it in by the fire to thaw it out some. Could have thawed it a little more. Another one is corn husk. Now, you're not gonna find a corn husk out in the woods, but if you have a garden, your corn husks will work. If you're nearby to a garden, corn husks will work. Fresh ones, or you can take dry ones and you can rehydrate them and it softens them up. You can also use the corn cob, a dried corn cob, and soften it up by rubbing it between your hands. Because I've never tried a corn cob, but I would imagine that if you didn't soften it up, it would be intense. You can also use larger maple leaves, larger ones. Do be aware though of leaves that have lobes, so there's kind of a gap in your coverage area. Big leaves in general are good, like a cottonwood or a sycamore, real big leaves. You can also use sphagnum moss. That's supposed to be a really good one. I've never used that one either. Now, not all mosses would be good. Supposedly, Spanish moss harbors chiggers. Ooh, nobody wants booty chiggers. Mosses can also be kind of acidic sometimes, which could irritate your bum. So maybe if you have some water, you could splash up there. So here's a new one for me. In doing my research, I read that large-leaved aster was another really good plant for this. I've never tried that. Apparently it's called lumberjack toilet paper. And apparently dried coconut husk works as well. We don't have coconuts around here, so I only have coconuts when we buy them from the supermarket. Never thought of rubbing them on my bum. Heading back to the garden, your garden lettuce will also work after it's bolted, and you're not going to eat it anyway. I mean, it was going to end up around your bum anyway, eventually. Digestive system. That's its job. And you can also use plants that have large feathery leaves. You can either fold them or wad them up to get in there and do the job. You can use them like kind of like a toothbrush, but for your butt. Or you can grab a hold of each end of the leaf and use it like butt floss. What am I doing with my life? Get creative. Other options would include a smooth rock, the scrape method, and then if you have water nearby, you can wash it off in between scrapes. You can also use a smooth stick with the bark removed. That one seems a little dangerous. Or you can use your hand. I'm just saying. I'm not saying it's like your first go-to, but if that's what you have, that's what you have. People throughout history have used their hand. It's a real thing, but do wash your hand afterwards. Okay, that's it for this one. I'll see you for a new video pretty soon. I've got lots of other videos that just need to be made. I've got all the stuff done. I just have to get it done. So until next time, happy foraging. I want you to keep your eyes out for plants and zombies and toilet paper, because it's not a matter of if you're gonna need it, it's when.